Welcome back. Concerns have been raised around whether government has what it takes to solve the country's energy crisis. And that's after President Cyril Ramaphosa cancelled his World Economic Forum trip to hold meetings with various stakeholders here at home. These include political parties, the Eskom board, and the National Energy Crisis Committee, among others. So let's get you some analysis of where we are in this moment. We're joined by OUTA CEO Wayne Duvenage to discuss this further. We're also hoping to be joined by Dr. Roland Ngam, who is an energy and climate change expert, to join us on the discussion. Wayne, very good morning to you. Great to see you. Thanks so much for your time this morning. I want to begin with the issues around the president cancelling his appearance at the World Economic Forum. He wanted to stay at home to have these important discussions with various stakeholders, including the leaders of some political parties. At least two of those political parties in the WhatsApp group that was organizing this virtual meeting with the president cited their inability to be there because of load shedding.
Yeah, it's ironical, and it really sends a clear message of how dire the situation is. I think firstly, the president not going to Davos and deciding to stay here, I think this is a little bit too little too late. This should have happened, these concerted efforts, and we've seen them come and go from time to time, to get on top of the situation and to placate what is an opportunistic situation for opposition parties, obviously, and that's what I think he's trying to do. We really need consensus from people like the president and others to give the public a peace of mind as to, are we on top of this problem or not? And it's a comedy of errors at the moment as these things unfold.
It's a stark reminder of where Eskom was, shall we say, 20 years ago, right? A leader in the sector to where we are now, with electricity costs in our country having escalated, I'm told, by 500% over the past 10 years. And I reckon probably load shedding increasing by just as much.
Yeah, certainly more than that from a price point of view since 2007, when the Medupi projects and Kusile then were budgeted for at 70 billion rand each, by the way, roughly, and now coming in at well over 150 billion rand each, closer to 200 billion, and still not operating at peak performance. So it's been a dire situation trying to build these two mega coal power plants, and at the same time our older ones are falling apart and being kept together by sellotape and elastic bands, so to speak, and they keep tripping and failing, and then making matters worse as the corruption that has crept into the power stations themselves, right from head office during the state capture years. And it has put this utility in a precarious position and the country in a very dangerous position. And we really have to get on top of it quickly, and we have to bring new generation on. And sadly, for years we dragged our feet as a government on introducing bid windows 4 and 5. Had all of those new projects come on board on time, we wouldn't be sitting here. So this is a political issue that is not being addressed meaningfully.
Wayne, with respect, you and I feel like we've had the same conversation not too long ago, and you raised the very same issues. And yet, here we are. And I'm sure the viewers who are watching this morning, who are able to watch, if they have power this morning, they also feel that the discussion is stalling, that we're saying the same things over and over again, and we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah. And we need urgency now. And we need to, fix the problems, get the generating capacity back on track, spend the time and effort on the maintenance. But on top of that, we really need to deal with the internal sabotage and corruption and the mafias that are making it very difficult for this state-owned entity to become as efficient as it can and should be. And you can play musical chairs with 2 or 3 senior positions, but this issue is deeper, and it has been fraught with political meddling and political interference for far too long, and it's going to get worse if Eskom is moved from the DPE, who haven't done a good job, by the way, in keeping it sound and sorted out, and moving it back to the DMRE. That is a recipe for disaster. So it needs a political solution as well as the competencies. But I think Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership needs to demonstrate that he's got the ability to do so and not allow Eskom to fall in the hands of DMRE.
Well, I mentioned to you at the start of this discussion that Dr. Roland Ngam, who is an energy and climate expert, would also be joining us. And Dr. Gam is with us this morning. Doc, it's great to see you. Thanks very much for coming on to this discussion. I'm taking a look at the President's address. It was the 25th of July last year, where the President addressed the nation on the electricity crisis. And he talked about a set of actions that he would be announcing on that day, what's it now, 6 months ago. Firstly, aimed at improving the performance of Eskom's existing fleet of power stations. He talks about accelerating the procurement of new generation capacity, increasing private investment in generation capacity. Those are just 3 examples. How far have we come?
I think already a lot has been done. The National Energy Crisis Committee already announced, and we all know that about 9,000 megawatts of generation capacity, albeit renewables, has already been commissioned and will come on stream very soon. We also know that about 1,800 megawatts of capacity and land was availed to independent producers. And also already we have about 3,000 megawatts which has come on stream. I think what needs to be said is that, and I've said this before, never in the history of South Africa has so much energy capacity been set up in such a short space of time. The problem, obviously, is that we are dealing with a tired and aging coal fleet that has really not been renewed quickly enough. And also, obviously, what Wayne was mentioning there, the fact that rent seekers are constantly seeking to advance their frontier of accumulation by holding South Africa to ransom, as many investigative reporters have shown over the last couple of weeks.
So, Doc, you're saying we've come some way. Wayne, would you agree with that? We've come some way insofar as the power that has come online, insofar as independent power producers are concerned. I understand that figure is 3,000 megawatts, with 10,000 more still in the pipeline.
Yes, we have come some way, but unfortunately, the coal fleet is really not keeping up. And so the idea is that we have 46,000 megawatts. There wouldn't be any problem if we really had 46,000 megawatts. Unfortunately, a lot of this is aging and failing. And so the energy availability factor really standing at 59% is not good enough. And that is why tempers are really flaring at this moment.
Wayne, you want to respond to that?
Yes, no, I agree 100%. And the new generation that's in the pipeline that's coming on soon, had government moved faster when it could have and should have, those would have been on track right now, and we probably wouldn't be in the dire situation that we're in.
So if our energy availability factor is now at 59%, and we've just come out of a week of stage 6 power cuts, where ideally should we be insofar as availability? Dr. Ngam?
I think you need to increase that by another about 20% at least. Between 2016 and 2020, South Africa had less than 100 days of load shedding, and the availability factor was really in the lower 80s. And I think that is really where it should be, because when you have maintenance, and in some cases, like we noticed, I think in September, about 90 trips happening in the space of 1 week. A lot of that really is due to a number of things. Obviously, skills have left Eskom. A lot of IPPs are also employing and so on. And the age of the fleet really has to concern everybody, because once again, when we set up Medupi and Kusile, the next government really should have also set up the 10,000 megawatts that it planned to do. Unfortunately, after the scandal involving Russia and so on was discovered, that was really canned. And if that had been followed up on with a plan B, South Africa really wouldn't be in this situation.
So the appointment now of Andre de Ruyter's replacement, how important is that, Wayne? And who's the kind of person that we need to be looking to?
Well, it's very important, not only for the morale of the country, but to ensure the morale of the internal team and staff at Eskom. It is not good when an organization of 40,000 staff or around about there, 38,000 are not in high spirits, are not working productively, focused on the agenda of dealing with the crisis and getting efficiency back into the system. So that leader and the leadership team, and of course it centers around the team at the top, but that leadership has to permeate throughout the entire organization, and there's a lot of work to be done. So expertise in both leadership and the energy generation sector is important for the individual, and then the support of the parties or the political parties and the political agendas need to be set aside so that the individual and the leadership team can get on with the job without all the people getting in the way of what they need to do.
Well, on that score, Dr. Gam, this meeting that the President held over the weekend with political parties, some political parties choosing not to take part because they believe it's just a talk shop, paying lip service to the issue of consultation, making it seem that there is consultation when really there isn't. Others unable to join, they say, ironically because of load shedding. But my question for you this morning is, should we be having these political discussions insofar as addressing the energy crisis is concerned? Are they important in addressing this crisis, or should we leave it to the engineers?
I think the meeting with political parties obviously was also to explain to them what is happening at Eskom, because obviously some of them have participating in ratcheting up the anger that is really palpable in society at the moment, and also because some of them have been frankly feeding a lot of false narratives and information on different platforms. And obviously a number of things really have to be clear, and the President as well as the committee have to make this very clear to South Africans. The fact that load shedding is going to take some time. The fact that it is not America and the EU that is forcing South Africa to move away from its base load, because obviously no base load program, new build program has been announced, frankly. And also the fact that Eskom workers are working under enormous pressure and ratcheting up the anger and that the narratives that we see really is making their situation untenable. And so it is important to have meetings with all stakeholders and ask everybody to really calm down so that the clear solutions that have been put in place can be followed up on.
Yeah. Anger around the nation, but also frustration, sadness, heartbreak, Wayne. We see small businesses closing in their numbers.
It is so sad, and we get a lot of calls around how can we help and sort this out, and they are closing down. Bakeries, lots of businesses just cannot operate. But I just want to add to what Dr. Ngam was saying, is that we really need to stop the sharing of misinformation on social media. It creates more angst, anxiety, frustration, and it does the country no good. We are sharing misinformation, wrong information, and that's why I think it's important to bring the political parties in to not capitalize on an opportunity here, but to calm the nation down. We will get through this, but we need cool heads, and we need to get the facts, and that's where I think the President needs to step up and the leadership within Eskom. We need the facts, because if we understand what is happening and we start working together, we can start dealing with the internal corruption as well. Collectively, this is a collective issue. and it takes all sides to come on board, not to have this factionalism and not to have this division that's taking place and this misinformation. And really, I get sick and tired of the amount of stuff that is shared across social media which is factually wrong, and people just believe anything that they see. We really should not be doing this.
Yeah. Wayne Duvenage is OUTA CEO. Dr. Roland Ngam is with the Rosa Luxemburg Foundation. He's an energy and climate expert. To both of our guests, thanks so much for weighing in on what is a difficult discussion and difficult to map a way forward as well. Thanks for joining us.